Hey guys, CJ here and welcome back to another all-new Hybrid News Now. We've got a pretty big video for you today with new looks and all new costumes for Daredevil, Elektra, and Punisher ahead of the show's second season coming out in just 10 days. Some new details about Scarlet Witch's role and powers in Captain America Civil War, and a little bit of a clarification on Zendaya's role in the upcoming Spider-Man reboot. But let's kick today's show off with the Daredevil stuff as, like I said just a few seconds ago, the show's second season is just 10 days away. This bit of news comes to us from Marvel themselves in the form of a new poster featuring Elodie Young's Elektra, Jon Bernthal's Punisher, and of course Charlie Cox's Daredevil. The big thing though is that this might be our best look at the costumes that they'll probably be wearing towards the end of the show's season. Let's start with Bernthal's Punisher, as this is our best look yet because it's not really our first look, but it's our best look yet at the iconic white skull. And in this iteration, it doesn't look like he'll be wearing it on a shirt as he does usually in the comics. Instead, he'll be wearing it on a bulletproof vest that he wears under a black leather jacket. Next up, Elodie Young's Elektra, and this might be the biggest thing to come out of this image as it gives us what might be our first look at what Daredevil's old flame will actually wear in terms of a costume for the show. Outside of what we had seen in the trailers, which seemed to be a pretty simple red outfit with the mask that pulled up over the bottom half of her face, this looks to be a little bit more ninja-like, a little sleeker as it's mostly black and a lot more complex. And of course, Daredevil's red suit. Well, we had seen in trailers that Matt is going to get pretty banged up in his fight with Frank. And while we had seen the red suit before, this is actually probably our best look at kind of how vivid it is compared to his suit at the end of the last season. It really shows off both the new style of eyes on the mask and just how red the suit is compared to the first black suit and then the later burgundy suit at the end of Season 1. But let me know in the comments section below what you think of our new looks at Daredevil, Elektra, and my personal favorite, the Punisher. And in our next story of the day, a little bit of info regarding Scarlet Witch and her role in Captain America Civil War. There have been a ton of Civil War details dropping recently, so expect an HNN special report on that in sometime in the next week or so, I'd say. But this bit of news is completely Scarlet Witch centric. In my opinion, her inclusion in Age of Ultron was awesome, but still her origin and power set are a little bit vague to say the least, as all we know is that she got her powers after Hydra experiments with the Mind Stone. And she was an absolute badass in Age of Ultron, showing off telepathy, telekinesis, the ability to shoot energy blasts, as well as precognition and giving people weird, bad future visions. But what are her powers really? Well, it looks like we'll definitely be getting answers to those questions about her powers in the movie Civil War itself. But for more on that and some about her character development in that movie, let's look at a quote from Elizabeth Olsen herself. We find Scarlet Witch without a home, without a family, and she ends up creating a surrogate family within the Avengers and making a decision to be a part of the team. I think a lot of that has to do with Jeremy's character, like his attitude towards her and the speech he gives her at the end of the film. So we pick up with her having started a new life, but still try to figure out what her abilities are, and if using them causes greater good or greater damage. Now I find that little bit at the end there really interesting about greater good or greater damage, because there were some earlier reports coming out like months and months ago that said that Scarlet Witch would be involved in a huge accident with Crossbones that caused a ton of loss of life and damage that would kind of be the replacement for the nitro explosion that kicked off the comic book Civil War. We also have a quote straight from one of Civil War's directors, Joe Russo, that also sheds some light on the powers situation, and let's take a look. We like characters that have limitations to their powers, so there's a cost for everything that they do. Wanda can't fly, she can use her power to push herself off, launch, and then bring herself back down, but she has to stop herself, and it's not the most graceful version of flying. It's just using her power to create energy to push herself up and then bring herself down, but she's still subject to gravity. So, no flying, it's more like jumping and hovering, a la Cole McGrath in Infamous. But that does suggest that there will be limitations and more limitations to her powers explored in the movie, which is something that I think most fans will appreciate. And in our last story of the day, some more clarification on the story that led HNN yesterday, a few more details coming from Variety about Zendaya's inclusion in the upcoming Spider-Man reboot. And yes, shout out to the 2 or 3 people in the comments that pointed it out, it is not Zendaya, it is Zendaya, that's my bad. But in the actual news, Variety has put out an article discussing the latest addition to the Spider-Man reboot, but some of what they're claiming is kind of contradictory to the original Deadline report that came out yesterday. Insiders suggest to Variety that while the actress will be in a key role in the film, Zendaya will not be playing a love interest, nor will she even be in a lead role in this movie. However, they also confirmed she will be very important to future installments. So in light of those curious new details, let me know who you think Zendaya will be playing in the Spider-Man reboot in the comment section below. So that wraps it up for the news today. Don't forget to smash that freaking like if you liked what you saw. Subscribe for more great content every single day. And, maybe consider supporting us on Patreon. Signing off, this is CJ, and I'll see you tomorrow.